Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
To complete the vehicle with replacement parts and necessary tools arises for every car owner who is responsible for his safety during the operation of the car, in case of unforeseen situations on the road. The bare minimum of each car includes a variety of working fluids for refilling, a standard set of tools, emergency sign, and a spare tire, in case of breakdown or damage to the installed rubber on the car. In this article, we will talk about Dokaka as a modern alternative to the spare tire in the usual form for drivers, its advantages and disadvantages in comparison with the characteristics of the latter, the peculiarities of product selection, and its operational features. Dokaka, deciphering the term and the history of the need for a spare tire. The need to equip the car with an additional wheel, and more than one, arose almost simultaneously with the first car coming off the assembly line. The reason was the poor quality of the road surface of those times, which was in most cases a dirt or paved roadbed with plenty of stabbing and cutting elements on the road. Accordingly, the precedents of mechanical damage of rubber on the car in ancient times were almost standard phenomena, which provoked the need to equip the vehicle with wheels for rapid repair on the road. In the past, cars were equipped with more than one spare tire because the possibility of damaging the rubber was too great. Over time, as the number of cars on the road has increased, the quality of the highway surface has improved considerably, but the need for a spare tire still exists today. Nowadays, there is no need to carry several spare wheels. However, one spare is necessary for prompt replacement of damaged rubber on the road, with the prospect of self-repair, saving money and time to call specialists or a tow truck to deliver the vehicle to the service station. Today, there are two options for completing vehicles with a spare tire: purchase of a standard wheel, identical to the installed rubber on the car. Purchase of the so-called Dokaka, which is a more democratic version of the spare tire, with smaller parameters and simplified technical properties. Technically, the Rollcaster is a solution to the problem of a damaged wheel. It allows you to replace it. The term run-flat tire is an abbreviation of the word to roll, which predetermines the possibility of only temporary use of the device in order to get to the nearest service station. On a permanent basis, to use such a wheel is categorically impossible due to its simplified operational properties, smaller parameters. Compared to the standard shoe, rolling wheels are already actively used by many car owners. In some cars of modern production are included with the vehicle from the factory, as well as available on sale and presented by a decent range, which allows you to choose and purchase a budget version of the spare tire for any car owner. Predominantly, such wheels can be visually recognized by a bright, contrasting color of the disc of the device. Let's consider further how to pick up an alternative version of the spare, in the form of Dokaka, on the vehicle. What features and characteristics of the product should be considered by a potential buyer when making a choice. Nuances of the selection of goods. The question of how to choose the right Dokaku for your vehicle is more than relevant for car owners, as it depends on the possibility of its installation, if such a need arises, and the level of safety of the car when driving on an alternative wheel. When selecting the product, it is necessary to focus primarily on the diameter size of the device, which should correspond to the calibration of a standard tire in this parameter as much as possible. Otherwise, operation of the product will be impossible due to the large difference between the wheels. Regardless of the criterion, whether the wheel is purchased for regular use or temporary use, it is important to select a wheel with the authority of the manufacturer of the product, as well as to give preference to products made for a particular brand of machine. This precaution will ensure that the products can be used, taking into account the weight of the machine and matching the fasteners to the specific vehicle. Read also how to properly use the karcher when washing a car pressure in the wheel of the dockage category. Safety for the car owner, passengers, and other vehicles on the road is predetermined by many factors, not the least of which is the quality of the rubber installed on the car and tire pressure. These indicators directly affect the controllability and dynamism of the vehicle during its operation. One of the important actual among car owners, is the question: what pressure should be in the roll cage? How many atmospheres should be regularly maintained in the alternative spare so that its operation was not only acceptable, but also safe? The roll cage has recently become actively used as a spare, so the answer to this question for many people is unknown, which makes drivers look for answers on a variety of forums or by clarifying the employees of service centers. Professionals advise in this matter to be guided by the recommendations of product manufacturers, which regulate the working pressure in the tire is not less than 4 atmospheres, with a possible error up to 0.2 of a unit of measurement in the direction of increase. Such parameters, significantly exceeding the standard tire pressure, allow the use of a tire that is substantially smaller in size than the standard tire, with minimal impact on the performance of the vehicle, its dynamics, and controllability. Control of pressure in the spare tire should be carried out at intervals not exceeding 1 month, which will avoid unforeseen precedents on the road when it is necessary to install it. Spare tire or standard spare tire. Differences, advantages, and disadvantages of each option. To determine what is better to carry in the car in case of damage to the tire, a spare or a standard configuration wheel will help. A detailed analysis of what is the difference between tire products. Differences lie not only in the visual aspect, but also in the technical parameters of the goods, predetermining their operational and advantageous sides. Spare devices differ according to the following criteria. The obvious, visual difference of the products lies in the discrepancy of dimensions. To be able to get to the nearest tire repair station, it is enough that the spare does not differ from the regular wheels in diametrical size. The thickness of the tire and disc of the temporary device has smaller dimensions. The second parameter that distinguishes the spare from the roll cage is predetermined by the weight of the structures. The latter, due to its reduced size and simplified configuration, is lighter. While products are also divided by price policy, the standardized class spare is designed for long-term use, so it is made of high-quality materials, in compliance with procedural norms, complying with modern technological requirements, which determines the high cost of goods. The use of Dokaka is provided only in emergency situations. The product is designed for low mileage, so it is made of cheaper materials, which determines its final, relatively low cost. The product also differs in terms of reliability. Tires designed for regular use are characterized by fundamental advantages that affect the operational safety of products. The quality of the production of the Dokaka is much lower, especially it is reflected in the wear resistance of the tread, which is designed for a small kilometerage, quickly wears out. Compared to a wheel of standard configuration, the Dokaka is significantly inferior in terms of quality and operational life. Among the disadvantages of using dockage products, drivers emphasize the following nuances: increased complexity of driving, as the alternative device has a small contact surface with the road surface, which affects the dynamics of the car, its behavior on corners. Braking distance in the direction of increase. High probability of tire damage, due to low quality of manufacture, on uneven, bumpy sections of the road. Negative impact on the differential and suspension components of the vehicle, due to the huge difference in angular trajectories at speed. Read also, in what cases it is better to use low-profile tires instead of conventional tires as an advantage of using a rolling wheel. As a temporary solution to the problem of a damaged tire, its affordability, compactness, which allows you to save space in the trunk. The ease of self-installation and a positive impact on fuel consumption due to the low weight of the product. Specifics of traveling on the wheel of the rolling configuration. For many car owners, the democratic cost of the Dokaka is a priority factor for its purchase, since the purchase of a backup wheel, identical to those installed on the car, is not available to everyone from a financial position. However, when making a decision in favor of a non-standard device, every responsible driver, worried about safety, is interested in how to properly operate the product, how much can you drive on the Dokaka, and at what speed. The dilemma of how many kilometers you can drive on a run-flat tire without causing damage to the vehicle's components and systems is predetermined by the concept of the term. The operation of a rolling tire provides for the possibility to drive it to the nearest tire repair shop, which is often no more than 100 kilometers distance. According to the regulations of manufacturers, The operating life of the rolling tire is from 2 to 6,000 kilometers, depending on the characteristics of the production of goods and the material of manufacture, respectively. Such a mileage is theoretically real for the car. From a practical point of view, prolonged driving on the roll cage provokes the occurrence of serious malfunctions of the working units of the machine, which as a result positions the cost-effectiveness of operational repair of the standard wheel and its installation. Another, the most discussed among car owners, is the question at what speed you can drive on the dock in order to avoid trouble in the form of an accident or premature damage of a non-standard backup element on the way. As the maximum speed of driving on a dock, manufacturers are regulated by the boundary, not exceeding 100 kilometers per hour. However, professionals do not recommend accelerating the car to such a mark on the speedometer to avoid trouble in the form of loss of control over the car, the negative impact of speed on the suspension elements. The optimal mode users call the speed threshold of 60 kilometers, with a mandatory reduction of this indicator on sections of the road with poor road surface and on the bends. Correct use of the roll cage implies, in addition to maintaining an adequate speed limit and driving only short distances in order to get to the tire repair shop, observance of the following rules and precautions. Refuse to mount the roll bar on the drive axle, which will avoid problems with the differential of the vehicle. Observe special caution when making maneuvers, overcoming turns. Keep a decent distance to the moving vehicles ahead, especially on slippery and wet pavement, as the braking distance on the roll cage is several times greater than standard criteria. It is advisable to deactivate the electronic stabilization mechanisms before driving off. Avoid sudden maneuvers and braking. Change the non-standard shoes to ordinary rubber at the first opportunity. Let's summarize. Rolling stock is a decent, budget alternative to a spare tire, saves space in the trunk, and facilitates the process of replacing the wheel in artisanal conditions due to the small weight and reduced dimensions. Adequate. Complying with the regulations and the described rules of operation of the roll cage will allow the car owner to minimize the negative impact of the use of the device on the nodes and systems of the vehicle, save finances for the purchase of an ordinary spare tire. Many drivers have already made their choice in favor of such a variable, spare shoes for the car, and successfully operate it in compliance with safety rules. In conclusion, the Rollabout presents a practical and innovative alternative to traditional spare tires, offering unique advantages for drivers. Its lightweight design and ease of use make it an appealing option for those seeking to enhance their vehicle's safety and efficiency. However, it is crucial to adhere to the specific guidelines for safe operation to ensure optimal performance and reliability. By understanding its peculiarities and following best practices, drivers can confidently rely on the Rollabout as a dependable solution for unexpected tire issues. Thank you for watching, and drive safely.